So,
Welcome, everybody. Here are a couple of wizards. This is the World of Mirror Kickstarter launch, which started this morning at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard. Is that right?
that's right. Yes.
And let's. Oh, actually, I should get a browser window. Of course, before we do any of this, hi, you're listening to and watching the World of Mirror Kickstarter launch, which is a the Two Wizards podcast. Basically, a couple of old guys talk about D&D and hopefully provide you some sort of information that makes sense and makes your gaming better. Okay, now let's talk about the World of Mirror Kickstarter. Uh, Introduce the whole thing. If they missed last week's episode, and I'm gonna find the current Kickstarter numbers.
All right. So, yes, today is the first day for the World of Mirror Kickstarter launch. And we've got a campaign setting for you for any RPG, not just for D&D or Pathfinder, but you could use this for any RPG system because there's not a lot of mechanics in it. It's more the lore of the world and settlements and factions, geographical features. We've got a lot of new art coming from Travis Hansen. He's also making the doing the layout and making the graphic design. So the whole thing is going to be more creative than our other books. And we'll put the link below to get to the Kickstarter. There's also on the Kickstarter page an example, an overview of this whole world that we've created, the world of Mir. You can actually download a little preview booklet. Well, it's not that small, it's 40 pages. And that gives you a good view into what this world is going to be like. Now, the Kickstarter is actually much shorter than usual. It's only 16 days. And that's partially the time of year and also partially because we found the long Kickstarters were getting too long. And we launched this morning. So it's been just over 10 hours and we're almost exactly 50% funded.
Yep. It's just shy by like what, $80 or something like that.
Yeah,
So
81 Canadian or 3,972 American. Just kidding. Um, it's yeah, 81 Canadian, so that's going to be about 60 American or so. So we're a really good start for the first 10 hours. And you can see there we have 102 generous people so far from all over the world. And
right.
yeah, and here is sort of an overview of the campaign page. So it mentions the main book is going to be about 200 pages, and that would be our biggest book yet. And Mir has 9 continents. There's a digital version, the hardcover, softcover, and again for any RPG. And all of the creatures, we made all these monsters for you in the monster series. There's the world map. And if you click on that link just below that icon, you can actually get a high res version of the whole world. And
Check this out.
yeah, this is the preview booklet. And so all the monsters we've been working on, all the monsters that are on the monster series, they're all going to be in this book. They're all going to be, well, their stat blocks won't, but we'll say, we'll give you locations for where they all are. There's also a huge table there that gives you some ideas for where your different homebrew campaigns could be located. And we'll give you more details about that later in the Kickstarter as well. But we'll help you create a world here that you can use the lore that we provide, or you can have your own space as a game master to explore and create. Here's the first continent, Zog. That's the biggest one. That's the homeland where the humans begin their journey. It gives you some factions, locations, some examples of what's there, some encounters and events. And then we've also added some magic items as well.
Which is very cool. And
So
there's
here's
Mir, where
Mir.
I've spent a lot of time.
Yes, yeah. The group that Shane's in have adventured all over Mir. That's right.
And there, where I don't think we've ever been, or at least I
Oh,
haven't ever done the
very,
adventures. I haven't
Yeah,
been on
very
that then.
briefly. Your tiefling, who had that
Hey.
strained relationship with her parents.
Oh
Uh,
yes, yes,
yeah,
that's right.
so she was there briefly. A lot of the world our groups haven't explored completely. So here's Norvold, one of the northern continents. A very hardy people live up there, and we've
Snow
added some
eagles,
art. Yeah. Here's Voth, the other northern continent, with the snow elves who want
been
to
there
conquer
once.
yeah, once. And they want to conquer the whole world, so we'll see how that goes for them.
Son.
Yeah, Mazan. So this is a continent filled with mountains, mountainous terrain, volcanoes, and this is the homeland of the dwarves. Galen. So
Galen?
this is, I think, something quite unique. This is a sort of Western style campaign, and it's actually halfling cowboys battling undead. That's what most of the continent contains. And
You had me at halfling cowboys.
yeah, here, Genos, the only desert, main big desert area, and it's not very populated for obvious reasons. And then
Down
also
here.
Tyrannos too. It's a jungle continent. This one reminds me of King Kong movies and Jurassic Park. That's sort of the sort of tone for Tyrannos. Except there's different things going on there. It's not like those other stories. And then here we give you an overview of what the information about the geography and the settlements and all of that will be like. And you get an idea of how detailed it will be. It mentions creatures in these locations, it mentions monsters from our books that live in these different areas.
As well. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, there's extra art in there. So there's some lakes there. It'll mention what kind of fish live there if your players want to go fishing.
Oh, I like this. I just noticed this. The references here to what monster book these creatures come from. That's cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a little notation every time we mention a monster from the series, we'll note it so you'll know what book to find it in.
But sorry, monsters, mountain ranges is what I meant to say. Cities
Yeah.
and towns of Mir. Nice.
Yeah. So for the settlements, we give you, you might want to pause just for a second. We'll give you things like the markets that are there, if there's a castle, who runs that settlement, what the guard are like, what kind of armor they wear, weapons they use. Is there a prison there? Are there factions there? How many people and what kind of humanoids would live there? And potentially what monsters are around. So there's a lot of detail. And then we'll mention some NPCs as well.
For an NPC. Oh, right. Okay, so I just put right in front of my face. Factions, Drow.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all that's
Yeah.
there. Oh, this is cool. By the
Well,
way, this
some
is
of
the
these
first time
are
I'm seeing this. If anyone cares, I've not seen this before since it just started today.
right. Well, some of these are small towns and villages. I mean, you're getting every settlement on in the world will be in this book. So some of them, yeah, there might be just one faction plus the people who live there. Others, there'll be numerous factions. And there's actually the back cover of the book as well at the very bottom there. That's
I
what the
was
back
looking
cover.
for characters, like maybe if there's some characters in here, but no, I don't see any. I love the ship design, like the actual like there's stuff on the sails and things like that. That's really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. Travis always adds these extras. So if you look in this booklet, just look at the page number. He's chosen a special font and design for the page numbering on the
Oh,
bottom.
like right down here.
Yeah, he's
Says.
painted the back of all of the pages. So all that background of the pages, he's painted that.
Love
And
you,
then yeah,
Travis.
and then again, if you look at the beginning too, he's got He's done different graphics at the beginning, and he's got, yeah,
I like this. This is really cool. Like just this complete little, what is it, a medallion of some sort on a wall or a book cover or something.
yeah.
I'm liking it. I'm liking what I see. I'm excited. And of course, I've already backed. Why have you not backed already? If you haven't, get on it now. You only have 3 weeks left, give or take. Not even.
Well,
Three
less than
weeks
that.
less a day.
Less than that. Just over 2 weeks. We're gonna finish on December 6th at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Which reminds
Uh,
me, we might be live streaming that kickover, which I think we did that for the last book, if I remember correctly.
we did, yeah.
Um, so yeah, so we'll be online and you can ask questions, all kinds of fun stuff like that. Because hey, why not? We are uh, going to we're gonna do some cool stuff. There'll be giveaways and things like that. Like you can have one of my dogs. They're adorable. Uh,
We've
the
got
World of
pugs.
Beer dog giveaway. They look
Yes,
terrified now.
pugs for everybody.
But now that it's launched, how are you feeling about it? Like it's all as you said, and as we're looking right now. Let's see, refresh the page. Is there more? Uh, there. Nope. 102 backers still. Where are you, 103? What are you doing right now? Stop eating dinner. Stop thinking about going to bed. Get on Kickstarter and support this book. Like, I don't know what you're doing, 103. I'm watching. But how
Yeah,
are you
no,
feeling now that it's actually started?
feels good for sure. It's a good start. Like I said, it's not even 12 hours yet, and we're almost 50% of the way. So, yeah, that's a really good start. Might be our best start yet, or one of the better ones for sure for the Kickstarters. So, this is number 11. We've done 11 Kickstarters. And yeah, tonight I'll do a little update in a couple of hours to the backers. I'll probably do them a little bit earlier, the rest of the Kickstarter, but tonight or today was pretty busy.
Right.
So in a couple of hours, I'll do an update and mention where we are and where we're going. And one of the things we've done too is if you look on the Kickstarter page, the stretch goals this time we've hidden. So
Yeah,
we're only gonna
I was just about to bring that up because level 1 is locked. And I
yes.
kind of love
So
that idea. That's kind of cool.
yeah, so we're only gonna show that first level once we funded the book. Once we get there, then we'll unlock that and show what's the next target. And once we reach that target, then we'll reveal what the next one could be. But we're gonna do it step by step, and it'll be a nice surprise because we have a lot of add-ons planned, or sorry, stretch goals, and then the add-ons are just below that on the Kickstarter page. And what that means is you add on a certain amount to your pledge. That's the equivalent to one of these options you can see in the middle of the screen. So there's one of the monster books you could get, and there's digital softcover or hardcover versions. And then there's other books we have listed. And we're going to add more of these add-ons after the Kickstarter as well. So when you add the amount, say you want a softcover monster book, so you'd add 35 Canadian to your pledge. And then when the backer kit comes out right after the Kickstarter, you just at that point you'll just choose one of those soft covers because you've already paid for it. So that's what the add-ons are. And
Yeah,
usually
like
we have,
me. Oh well, because the selection you could see on the screen. This is my Kickstarter account, where I've selected the second one because I would like to have the hardcover PDF, uh, because I already have all the hardcovers of the other ones. However, um, uh, I did at one point have a soft cover of Monsters of the City, and then when Monsters of was that Monsters of the Underworld next after City, I think, um,
the other way
or
around,
was it
Underworld and
the other
then
way around?
City. Yeah.
So whichever one was next. Oh, actually, it might have been Monster of the Dungeon. Um, I looked at my shelf, going, "Oh, hey, I want to have the hardcover of Sins and Virtues as well, Monster of the City." So I just upgraded my thing to say, "Hey, I'd like to have a hardcover of, I think it was a hardcover of your choice or whatever." So I was able to get that book as well, just because I hardcover right off the bat. That's a no brainer. Um, so yeah, it was actually very easy to do it using the backer kit to do that part of it. So I fully support people doing that. If you don't have the stuff before, you still can, you know,
Yeah, it's
and
pretty
why not?
straightforward. And then we'll add extra ones. Like we usually have stickers as add-ons, stickers of the monsters. Obviously, we'll have a mirror sticker for sure as one of the
Oh
add-ons.
yeah,
And then we add, sometimes we've added on more NPC books that we have. Yeah, there's a lot more to go. The first goal is to get things funded. And why don't we look at the reward tiers on the side of the campaign page?
sure. Let's zoom in a little. Oh, we can't zoom in that much. Oh, that's terrible. Oh well. Yeah. So basically, over here, available rewards. Explorer pledge $1.
Yeah. So the first one is the Explorer. If you want to just pledge $1, and then later, because you're a part of the Kickstarter, you can change your reward tier and you can take part in the add-ons in the backer kit. So that's one option. The next one is Hero, which is the PDF level. So you'd get a PDF of the World of Mir, and it's a 200-page book, and that's 25 Canadian. And that's a really good deal in the US too, because that's about $18 American. Then we have the first printed book option is the Zog tier. So softcover book for 45 American, plus you get the PDF. So whenever you back a book that's printed, you get the PDF as well. So 45 for the PDF and the softcover, 45 Canadian. So that is about 32 American. The next level we have is the Myrr level. So that's the hardcover book. This level is pretty popular. You have the hardcover and the PDF, and those would
That's as well.
be, yeah, 55 Canadian, and in US dollars, it's just under $40. Then we have the digital tier. So if you want all the digital books in the Monster series, that's 6 books, plus the New World of Mir. So 7 PDFs of books, usually averaging 150 pages to 200. That's only 65 Canadian, um, which is about 47 American. So that's a really good deal, in my
I
opinion.
was gonna say, like, that is like, duh. It's awesome.
The next one, and then we have a bunch of tiers where if you want to add one monster hardcover book to your backing of the World of Mir hardcover. So there's Norvold when you add one monster book, and then there's Mazan when you add two, and then Tyrannos when you add three plus Mir, and then Nairn you add four plus Mir, so 5 books. Genos you add five, and Mir. And then Galen, you have the whole monster series in hardcover, plus a hardcover version of the World of Mir. And our last tier, we named after Oswald the Wizard. This one, you get everything. So you get the monster series in hardcover, you get the World of Mir in hardcover, all their PDFs, obviously. You get the our Hirelings and Henchmen PDF book. You get the Between Dungeons handbook. You get the our adventure series in Mir. They're adventures from level 1 to 20. You get stickers, Mir stickers, 3 of them, and you get our NPC collection from Mir from the Monster series, which is that's 6 books. And then the one really cool part of this, I think, one really unique thing we haven't done before is you get the chance to add an NPC into the World of Mir book with this tier. So you'll work
Oh,
with us. We'll come up
wow.
together with an NPC who's going to be a part of the world and a part of the book.
Okay, that's cool. How many Kickstarters have actually done that in this world? I can't think of a single one. Like, that's very cool.
Yeah.
I'll just
So
leave that on the screen. Buy this one, Oswald Mir.
there's lots of options. And then we talked about the add-ons. Um, stretch goals will be announced. And as Shane said, we'll have some giveaways. We usually give away some of the Monster Series books during the Kickstarter. And if you check the links below, not only will there be the Kickstarter link, but there'll be our Discord link if you want to join the Discord and follow along. And also, we're on all the social media platforms as well, X and Facebook and Instagram and Blue Sky. And yeah, you can follow along. There are a lot of people on Discord today following along, seeing how the Kickstarter was doing.
Exactly. Because I generally myself check every day just because I want to see that number go up.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
I want my book. So, you know.
speaking of that, we are $1 away from 50% funded now. We just got another backer. So we're exactly a dollar from 50%. There we
One
go.
whole dollar.
Yep,
Okay,
one
that's
dollar.
awesome.
Yeah,
Oh, thank you for whoever did that just now.
yeah,
That's awesome. Thank you.
yeah.
And I take back what I said, 103. You obviously didn't go to bed, or you stood up from your dinner plate and were like, I better go do that right now because there was a tremor in the forest and you knew you had to do it. So thank you,
Right.
103. Uh, but and December 6th, yeah, I that's not far away. That is
No.
actually so close. I mean, I'm used to a lot of Kickstarters being like 9 years long, and so you always kind of go, I don't know, maybe I'll come back in a few weeks and I'll check it out again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Not
But
this
no,
time. Not
not
this
this
time.
time. This time I was on it. Like as soon so I got it this morning and I checked. I thought, okay, I better get some coffee and I got to go to the store first. And then I came back and then I was in there and I was like, I sat down. I'm like, honey, I gotta go do this right now because otherwise I'll just lose my mind.
Right.
But I was trying to be number one to be actually
Yeah.
first, but
The
I
person
I
who was
was I
number
was
one, actually, she contacted me and actually sent a screenshot showing, look, I was number one. So I really appreciate that. And they live in a very isolated part of the world. That's actually one of my favorite parts about this whole process of publishing. We've talked a little bit about it before, but I'm endlessly fascinated to see where everybody is from because these books go all over the world. And I often, in the last couple of Kickstarters, I'll say, oh, by the way, this is the top 10 countries that people are ordering from, or this is the top 10 cities. But yeah, I just find it so interesting. Even when I'm doing the shipping and I look at the addresses, I learn so much about the world and um, yeah, the community of people who are gamers who play tabletop games is enormous.
not to mention as I think you pointed this out just today. I think on the Discord. So if you're not in the Discord, join it. It's free. But also that you actually have a second book in the library. Is that correct?
Yes, that's true. Yeah, things have been so busy with the Kickstarter. I haven't really got a chance to talk about that much. But the local libraries here, they have an local authors collection. And last year, Monster of the City got accepted, and then yesterday, Monsters of Feyland went into the collection. And yeah, really, really cool. And I actually was surprised they accepted it last year, just because all the other books are like historical books and kids books, and the local redheaded blackbird sapsucker. Here's the history of him for 200 pages. Um, and to have a gaming book included, I was surprised. I actually emailed the library and said, I appreciate that you considered our book and that we've been accepted. And they said, you'd be surprised how many librarians play D&D. So
Okay, that's awesome.
I get, and considering we have a librarian in our group, and the first backer of this new book of Myrr was a librarian as well, it makes sense,
Nice.
right?
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Anything else, or we want to say, hey guys, stop listening to us. Go immediately to Kickstarter.com, look up Cawood Publishing, and get in there and support the book because you won't be disappointed. And if you are somebody who has never heard of these books before, and you are into D&D, head over there and support it by going into one of the additional tiers where you can get if not all, get at least one or two, and that way you can add stuff because the book quality is amazing. I mean, I'm biased in a lot of ways, however, I don't lie. This book is worth it. All of the previous books are worth it, and yeah, jump in and support a local publisher here in BC or Canada or whatever. Just support Cawood Publishing regardless, because as everybody knows, this podcast is brought to you by Cawood Publishing at worldofmere.com. And if you don't support him, I will find you and I will tickle you until you cry. So don't.
I should also
I'm a master tickler. So
I should mention too, I was on a podcast, J&J Tabletop this weekend, and I put their video on on our social media because they talked about Mir with me, did a review of it, and some people have asked, "Oh, alert! 50% funded."
oh wait, what? Yes! Thank
Yes,
you, 104. Uh, so let me do the math. So they did the. Oh yes, well done. They did
yes.
the $25 too.
They did
Good
the
job.
PDF, and they put us over the hump. So yeah, that's great. And people have asked, okay, what is special about Mir? What's unique? Because there's a few settings for D&D. There's not really that many that are very popular. Like, there's Greyhawk, there's Forgotten Realms, there's Dark Sun. Um, the others are not, I wouldn't say massively popular. They've sort of got their own followings, smaller followings. So they asked, what is unique about Mir? Well, first of all, it's a world that's being changed by one person, this crazy wizard. And there's a big story around that and why it's happened and what he's doing because he did this, because he's changed the world forever. And then you've got 9 continents, and they're really like 9 separate worlds because there wasn't travel between these continents on any kind of large scale because the oceans are so dangerous. There's Shanes lurking in the waves, and dragon turtles and sea monsters. Um, and we know a lot about that living here by the coast. The
Right.
ocean was very perilous, and not many people would make those voyages, or many creatures, you know. So you've got 9 separate worlds really that are starting to meet for the first time. And you've got a really detailed world that's easy for you to homebrew in, and that will give you so much depth because you'll have, as I've mentioned in the last podcast, you'll go to a village and you'll find out, oh, there's an author here who writes these books, or there's a fisherman who has tales about this lake, that there's a monster living in the lake, or there's somebody in the village who's a guide and they know the best way to go through the mountains to the next town. So there's very small details like that, but they're throughout the book. So you'll have a lot of depth and a lot of um, color to add with your players, and it can just keep growing the adventures that you have every step of the way, basically.
Well, I mean that's. I mean, I've said this before, and I will say it again, and I always remind people of things I've said, but The little tiny details are the best because it, gives that life to what could be, you know, players and DMs could also kind of use a world that they didn't create, that they just kind of populate very loosely and sort of all over the place. Uh, but if you have inspiration, I find inspiration that people give out in worlds that they've either created or creatures they've invented or whatever. Um, yeah, the details just make it all the more better because there's life. I always complain, there needs to be life. Why is there not more life? Um, and I'm glad you mentioned Dark Sun. I have not thought of Dark Sun in so long. I had forgotten it even existed. But
Mhm.
uh, but I think I played one adventure in it a million years ago. Considering we're old wizards. But yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff like that you could take creatures from world of monsters of the underworld and place them in that world, or monsters of the dungeon, throw them in that world. Um, but uh, but don't, because you should be playing the world of Mirror first, uh, at least once a week. Your hair on your chest and you get taller and stuff like that. Rah, rah, rah. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm glad this is on. This is actually started. I'm glad I've backed it already, and I I can't wait for April. I mean, I would like April to be now.
It might
So,
be sooner. Our the PDF for the dungeon book, we targeted it to be out in December, I believe December, maybe late November, and it came
nice.
out in October.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, and the printed books for the dungeon will probably be shipped. I mean, it's only because the printer's backed up because of the holidays and things. Because we've sent in the proof for the book um, October 28th,
Oh, wow.
and we still don't have the proof back. So if it wasn't for that, if it was a different time of year, we'd be already shipping that books, but it should ship in January. So there's a
Nice.
chance that our April target for Mir will be able to do earlier. Um, because when we bring things to Kickstarter now, they're either done or almost done.
That's
So
actually the best way to do it because, as you and I have complained about it in regards to not just Kickstarter but other funding platforms, um, that a lot of them they launch the Kickstarter first with the bare minimum of information, and then they start.
yeah,
And I think it's actually way better to have a fully formed product, or as you said, almost done, for with sort of like months before you even start, because I mean that's the thing. I guess in terms of the creative market, in terms of D&D and creating these worlds and things like that, um, Tolkien didn't sit down and just go, I'm going to sell a book, so yeah, I'll get my publisher to announce Lord of the Rings, and we'll, maybe in a few months I'll start. Like, no, no, it was his thing, and that's kind of, I sort of equate you to that sort of realm of people that sit down and they do it for the love of this. They don't do it because they're wanting just to make a product,
yep,
and because that's always a disaster waiting to happen. Where even if the funding didn't work, you would still do it, and we already know that the word that is going to be a book, and it's going to be great. Um, but it's just gravy on top. So yeah,
yeah. It's how good we can make it. We can add a lot more, and with the stretch goals, we can make the book even better. And it's interesting, they had a night at the end of last week for all these authors for this new collection for this year, where they gathered us all and they revealed the collection. They actually had a curtain at the end of these
really.
speeches, and then they pulled the curtain back and they rolled out this cart with all the books on it. Seriously, and it was very nice, like food and drinks, and it was interesting because I'd say the average author there was a 60-year-old man by far. Like I'd say 70% at least of the people, or 80%. And talking to the people, men and women who were there, almost every person, they said that they had to write the book. They just felt compelled to write the book.
Yeah.
So I found that really interesting. There were certain qualities that you could see that were similar with all the people who were there. and that was one thing that I heard over and over that night. I was compelled to write this. I had to write this. Um, so, and I feel the same way. Like it's for me, it's just like going for a walk, or like it's just a natural thing to do, and I feel like I'm compelled to tell these stories. That's basically what happens.
Exactly. And that's like for the books that I've written, there's been a couple that were basically jobs. They were just jobs to write,
Right.
and that was the hardest writing I've ever had to do because it
Yeah.
is just it's like I like I like getting money for this work, but I'm writing something that somebody else told me to write, how to write it, what format it's going to be in, what how it's going to be organized, and it's just like okay, I'll do it, but there's just no enjoyment out of it. It just becomes a process of, all right, what is that thought I have? Okay, okay, it's been barfed out. It's now on my keyboard. Great, it's on. It's. I'll send that in. Where this kind of stuff, oh yeah, I mean, there's so much writing that I do that I just do for myself, and I would say 90% of it will never see the light of day to anybody else, but I'm enjoying it, and it's the process of actually doing it because yeah, you just have to. It's the rules, It's when you're creative, when you work in the creative world, that's just how it is. And, yeah, I love it. So could wax poetic about all of the writing that I'd like to do that I don't have time for because I'm busy working all day, all night. But yeah, so World of Mirror, if you haven't got it, get it because if you
Check it
don't,
out.
you will regret it. You will regret it that you did not do it now, because 5 years from now, the World of Mirror 2 will already be out. I mean, come on.
And as I said, there's a booklet you can download so you can take a look at an overview to see what you think of Mir. And also, you can click on a link and see the full map so you can see what the whole world looks like. And I should mention again, the artist is Travis Hansen, who's doing all the illustrations and the graphic design and layout. And then the maps of the world and some other maps which might get made is a cartographer here in Vancouver, Philip Stephen. And that's our team. That's our massive team of three. And we'd like to make a book for you.
On that note, which was very Friends esque,
Oh,
point of
yeah?
view. It was just like one of those catchphrases that those characters did.
Oh,
Um, but yeah, we will be back next week talking about something. I'm not sure what because I haven't looked at the notes yet. But yeah, and definitely check us out on the 9th. 9th, right? 9th? Is that right? Of December? When, or 6th.
the
I'm getting
6th.
those two mixed. The 6th, thank you. That's why I'm
Yeah.
getting it. I just reversed it. On the 6th, we'll be live streaming that evening just to hang out for an hour or two and watch the number kick over to being 300% funded because, that's how we roll. And of course, everything we've talked about today, and anything of note will be in the description below, links, all that kind of stuff, and support small publishers or small writers and creators and all kinds of stuff because there's a ton of stuff out there that I think would be wonderful to be added to the plethora of creative endeavors. I don't know what the hell I'm saying, but it sounded pretty good at the time. We'll see you all next week, and bye for now.
Later.